Hello everyone, my name's Jacob and today I'm going to be talking about PlayerUnknown'S Battlegrounds and what I think has led to its success. Now before we get stuck into any of that, I first need to address what PlayerUnknown'S Battlegrounds actually is. I'll be calling it PUBG for short from now on because it's a little tedious to say PlayerUnknown'S Battlegrounds over and over again. Now in regards to PUBG, it is a game that can be related to the Hunger Games series, but on a larger scale. 100 players are put on a remote island in a winner-takes-all battle to the death, where players can utilize scattered weapons, supplies, and vehicles within a shrinking environment to help them be the last one standing. I'll have gameplay going on in the background so you can kind of get a feel for how the game plays and what the game looks like in regards to when you first start off and then towards the end of the game. Okay, so let's get down to the crux of the video now. I believe there are three factors that has led to PUBG's success. The first being the game's origins, where it came from and why it actually came into the industry. The second is how PUBG uses its game space, so how players interact with the environment and how the environment is always changing. And the third is how PUBG uses soundscaping, so essentially using sounds in a very effective way within the game to make it seem either more realistic or more immersive. Okay, so why do I believe that a game's origin has actually anything to do with its success? If you think about big companies like Bungie or Blizzard, if they're releasing a game, people are going to notice. And it's kind of a similar situation with this. Except this time it's not a big company, it's actually a single pioneer within the industry. His name is Brendan Green. If we have a quick look on their website, it gives you good detail on where the game actually came from. Here it says that PlayerUnknown is actually Brendan Green, who is the creative director at Bluehole. He's been a pioneer in the Battle Royale genre for a very long period of time. He's created mods in the Armor series, and he's also had a lot of involvement in the H1Z1 series. So now he's started to make his own game and push out PlayerUnknown'S Battlegrounds, which he hopes is the best of the genre. The reason I believe this to be relevant is because when you have a certain person within an industry who's very passionate about that sort of industry, working on their own game or working on their own project and working as hard as they possibly can to make it as optimal as possible for the community, you tend to get a very good result. And I believe that's what has happened here with PUBG. Alright, so now that we've covered what PUBG actually is and where it came from and why that's important, let's move on to actual gameplay. So let's first talk about PUBG's interactive environment and changing space within the game and why it's important. To help understand its importance, I'm going to use a quote from Sybil Lames, who says that whether environments are abstract or more recognizable, the player is always involved in an effort to spatially master a game world. Hence, on a very fundamental level, an important function of any game is to involve the player in the spatial process, and to encourage a strong identification with the spatial dimensions of the game. This is relevant because it tells us that PUBG is doing a very good job in regards to its game space. PUBG is always forcing players to master the environment and pay respect to the spatial process. This is because of PUBG's shrinking environment. As the game prolongs, the battle arena gets smaller and smaller, forcing players closer to each other and more away from the blue circle. As you can see on the map, it is forcing players into the white circle over time, and any players outside of the blue circle will take continuous damage. What this does is it forces fights between players when there aren't very many players left on the map. Here's an example where there are 4 of us battling it out on the border of the circle due to it forcing us in the same direction. I also wanted to show this clip because I hit a really nice headshot. So yeah. Alright, now let's talk about how PUBG uses sound in a very effective way. The type of sound PUBG uses is called diegetic sound. A quote from Christine Jorgensen says that diegetic sound originates from a source existing within a fictional universe. What this essentially means is if you hear a sound like this, then it means you're getting shot at from somewhere, and you should probably take cover. There are no made up noises in this game. Every single sound that you hear has happened in the world somewhere, so it's up to you to use that information wisely and strategically. A quote from Mark Grimshaw and Gareth Scout sums up the use of sound in games nicely. They say that sound is an omnidirectional experience, capable of carrying information about virtual materials and dimensions of the game environment both on-screen and off-screen. Thus, it is our contention that sound is a key contributing factor to the creation of the three-dimensionality of FPS game worlds. This essentially tells us that sound in games is very important for carrying information to players. An example of this is gunshots as shown before, but there's also footsteps. People are very loud with their footsteps in this game as they are in real life. Just have a listen and see if you can tell if there's an enemy nearby. So if you hear someone running near you, it's up to you to use that information to take action. That is why I find the use of diegetic sound in PUBG to be very effective and also one of the contributing factors to why it's become so popular. So I'm going to start bringing this video to a close now. Hopefully my insight into the origins of the game and the effective use of the environment and the soundscaping helped you understand why I think the game has become so successful based off these factors. So you can see right here that I'm being an absolute potato with the shotgun, and I'm actually going to cut the clip here because I don't want you to see me lose. So yeah, see you guys. Cheers for coming by.